Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. First call, ex-Steeler calls out George Pickens, Davante Adams update, Sidney Crosby not an option to leave Pittsburgh. Tuesday's first call has a stern message for George Pickens from a former Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl champion. We also have an update on the chaos swirling around the Raiders as they prepare to host the Steelers on Sunday. Sidney Crosby discusses his long-term future in Pittsburgh. And some highlight reel performances at Duquesne and Robert Morris are getting conference-wide recognition. Status quo as the Steelers prepare to play the Las Vegas Raiders, they are unsure about who the opposing quarterback is going to be, and which uniform Davante Adams is going to be wearing. Or if he'll be in uniform at all. Adams, the disgruntled Raiders wideout, has asked for a trade. The Steelers are among many alleged suitors. However, on Monday, Vegas head coach Antonio Pierce had no update to provide on his star receiver status, not only in terms of trade talks, but also his health. Adams has missed the past 2 games because of a reported hamstring injury. Via ProFootballTalk.com, Pierce said, Adams' situation was status quo and that reporters should ask Adams why he's looking for a new place to play. However, status quo is a hazy response when the status itself is at the very heart of the question. I don't know. I think you gotta ask Davante that, Pierce said when asked why Adams wants out of Las Vegas. Pierce is also still unsure about who his starting quarterback will be between Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. The Steelers won in Las Vegas last year, but they lost to Minshew when he was the quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts. Let's see if Mike Tomlin is more transparent in his own QB decision between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields during his weekly Tuesday press conference. Coming right out to say it, former Steeler Max Starks panned wide receiver George Pickens on the team's own post-game show Sunday following the franchise's 20-17 loss to the Dallas Cowboys. Appearing on the Steelers' audio network, the retired offensive lineman turned sideline reporter ripped Pickens for wearing eye black that read open, expletive, always. The third-year pass catcher was also seen pouting on the sideline during the game, rounding off routes and grabbing the face mask of a Dallas player after the final whistle. Some guys need to grow up faster than they are, Stark said. If you want to be a number 1 receiver, act like a number 1 receiver. Don't act like a number 3 receiver in those moments. Don't shrink in the moment you want the ball. Pickens had just 3 catches for 26 yards on 7 targets during the defeat on Sunday Night Football at Acrisure Stadium. Ben Roethlisberger ready to see Roman Wilson with Steelers' need for number 2 WR never more apparent. Steelers WR Roman Wilson isn't the only Wilson who has been healthy for weeks but remains a healthy scratch, nor is he anywhere near close to the more important of the two. But can we get a look at him anytime soon? I'm asking for a friend, former Pittsburgh Steelers QB Ben Roethlisberger. Are we gonna see Roman Wilson at any point this year? Roethlisberger asked on his Footballin' podcast yesterday. I don't know that Roman's gonna make a big splash, anyway. We've been talking now for weeks about needing a number 2 receiver. It was never more apparent than it was last night that we need at number 2 receiver. The Steelers netted 150 passing yards in their Sunday loss to the Dallas Cowboys. And 19 of those yards came from Kyle Allen, who should be the emergency quarterback behind the other Wilson. George Pickens caught 3 passes for 26 yards, Van Jefferson the same. Brandon Johnson, don't worry if you just asked, who, caught 1 for 9 and Calvin Austin 1 for 6. Speaking of the who, yes, the Steelers elevated Brandon Johnson from the practice squad rather than dressing Wilson. Mike Tomlin has given every indication the rookie is healthy enough to play but that he needs to keep working. I can only wonder what they need to see. A 3rd-round pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, Roman Wilson has yet to make his NFL debut after injuring his ankle on the 4th day of training camp. He missed all of the preseason and was still dealing with the injury weeks into the regular season. but he hasn't been on the injury report in a while, and yet the Steelers are coming up with new ways to not play him. Considering how little they are getting from their other wide receivers, many are wondering why Wilson doesn't get a chance. Of course, we don't know everything the coaches know, so perhaps he is struggling with communication or something. Ray Fittipaldo said that he was looking better last week, but still insisted he wouldn't dress yet. But it really wouldn't take much for the Steelers to dress him if they actually wanted to. To be honest, it's almost starting to feel like this is about more than football. By no means am I suggesting that Roman Wilson is in any kind of doghouse, but is this some form of tough love from Tomlin? Does he think he's protecting the rookie, making sure he can hit the ground running when he finally plays? Because he didn't take those same precautions for Troy Fautanu, even if he did get more training camp work in. I don't know. Call my naive, but I can't help but agree with Roethlisberger's sentiments. Without knowing all the reasons why the Steelers aren't dressing him, I feel like it's about time. Even with the time he did miss, if Roman Wilson can't play by week 6, having been healthy for weeks, he has a problem. New details revealed in Pittsburgh Steelers' pursuit of star WR Davante Adams. The Pittsburgh Steelers have inquired about Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Davante Adams, but their pursuit of the superstar wide receiver will be hard-earned if they do end up acquiring him. ESPN's Adam Schefter says that the New York Jets and New Orleans Saints are the favorites to land Adams. Both places have former quarterbacks that Adams has played with in the past, which is his preference in any trade scenario. Schefter says that the Steelers, as it stands, are window shopping and will wait for things to dissolve between the Jets and Saints before they contend with a serious offer. As for what a serious offer would be, Jordan Schultz of Bleacher Report reports that the Raiders want a second-round pick plus an additional pick without taking on any of Adams' future salary. Adams' cap hits are well over $35 million the next 2 seasons, and with no guaranteed money left on the contract, he would be a prime cut candidate for any team that acquires him without a restructured contract. Any team that lands Adams would almost certainly do that, otherwise the asking price seems unrealistic for the Raiders. Las Vegas would like to move fast, but they will not move Adams if the right offer does not come along. Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce said it was status quo with Adams this week, and if the team trades him, then they do. Adams is battling a hamstring injury that has sidelined him the last 2 weeks. That needs to heal before the Raiders trade him, but he is expected to be ready to play this week if a team does trade for him. Schefter said that the deadline for a trade this week that would allow Adams to play is likely Tuesday. The Steelers seem unlikely to be in that conversation for now until they see what the Jets or Saints will do. Schultz said that no team has even come close to offering what the Raiders would like in the deal, so this could drag out for a while. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Davante Adams? Leave your opinion in the comments.